Welcome back to another Purpose Served podcast episode. I'm your host, Daryl Wingfield. Yet again, this is going to be a very personal episode to me. And hopefully, this helps with any of you guys that, struggle with, being impulsive, any addictions or anything, just to be open and honest. Um, I want to talk about being under the influence, um, being high, being drunk, and only reason why I want to talk about this is that this everything that I always talk about, literally, it leads me to this point: the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent. Now, for me, I started drinking before I started smoking. And at first, it definitely started off as one of those things to literally simply have fun. Um, and it's not something that I would want to say that I found the issue with it. It's not like, oh, like I ain't trying to do that or like my friends being weird. Nah, I was all for it. And I would want to say this has started around the age of 17 to 18 for me. Um, and a lot of people, it starts younger than that. But yeah, for me, it started around like 17, 18, and now it wasn't one of those things where it was like every single day I was drinking. It was turning into like, here and there. Go out to a party, you're going to drink. But it's not like I was partying every single day. Now, once I graduated high school and went to college, that's when a lot of these behaviors started ramping up. And I would want to say they all started innocent at first, as everything always do. But the more that I kept in doing it and kept in indulging in it, I started liking it. You know what I'm saying? And there was a certain time period where I noticed a change in my mindset, and I want to say this was definitely around the time of 1920. Around that age, I wasn't really going out to clubs or anything. Like house parties was like the thing. Was it 21? Couldn't get into a bunch of clubs, but going to a party, always find a party somewhere. And oftentimes, this is when I was drinking around people who were literally doing the same exact thing. And when you start to get into that mind state, a lot of things that you would think about doing or saying, you wouldn't say sober, but you definitely develop the balls to think and say and do certain things when you are drunk. And I would want to say personally, for me, I started to get super duper comfortable with it around the age of like 18, 19, 20 years old, to the point where it went from, yeah, whatever house party or party that I went to, I was doing it. And then it went from, being like, oh, I'm going out like every single weekend. And then it went from like that turning into everyday thing. And the transition seemed, at the time, I didn't realize how fast everything was gone on as truth. Everything was happening. And some of the stuff, this is what I mean. A lot of times, like for example, I remember specifically, there's this one time, me and my friends, we had this thing, we got a bottle. We had to finish it no matter what it was, or any bottles, before we, you know, get out the car or leave the house or whatever. Call it what, pre-game? But yeah, pre-gaming pretty hard. And then I remember that once we left, I don't remember the drive of getting to the specific party, but I do remember just realizing that out of nowhere that I'm in the middle of this party, and and it's real active. Everything is active all around me. But I remember sitting there thinking like, yo, how did I get here? How did I get in this moment. I don't literally remember, and I would want to say 80 to 90% of the stuff that I did under the influence, I really got on as truth, don't remember, and it went from drinking and literally the same thing for me was the case with smoking, and it was one of those things where it literally was a once in a blue thing, not even for parties, like friends to get together and smoke. And then, of course, that started turning into like, yeah, every time we went out, we were smoking. And then it turned to like everyday thing. And smoking, drinking on top of that. And you definitely develop an altered state of mind and a lot of things that you really do care about, they kind of go to the wayside, and being under the influence the majority of your day. And I'm sounding like a fucking square right now, but uh, this is real. And when you going through your days like that, there's a there's a unhealthy amount of unclarity that you carry through, and ultimately, when I was going through my days, man, I was starting to feel a strong sense of numbness and a void. And feelings like that, for example, led to me getting like tattoos. And it was one of those things like when I got my first tattoo, I was just speaking to somebody about this earlier. I wanted to feel something. This is when I was like 20, 21 years old. But it felt like I really genuinely didn't care about anything. But yet and still, this is the trick I was playing on myself. I honestly did care about the trajectory I was going and the things that I was doing, but I didn't have enough strength to do anything about it. I only knew how to make things worse, and by making things worse, I meant doing things that I was extremely comfortable with, like getting a bottle and drinking it, by myself, or smoking and all of that. Like for example, uh, if you guys is out here, like for example, like those of you that smoke weed like a lot, I'm pretty sure that you got to the point where you started selling it. That may not go for everybody. I know it's a decent amount of people. Like for me, that transition happened within less than a year. I was smoking, and then next thing you know, I was like, oh man, like I keep needing more and more and more and more. So I might as well start to re up, start getting money off of it, and start selling to other people that I know smoke literally as well. And a lot of these things that I thought I had a good grasp on myself with, but these things quickly got OD out of control, which led to me getting arrested, led to me losing a lot of things because I wasn't clear up top. And I'm not saying that smoking and drinking is a bad thing, but you have to do things in moderation, And also, like I said, with that altered state of mind, you tend to do things that's outside of your character, and the more you keep doing it, you're going to be really convinced that this is your character, this is truly who you are, and that for damn sure went for me. To be quite honest, I honestly thought I was that person. Like, feel like, dang, bro, the day I'm starting to literally sober up, I'm starting to lull out. Like, I need a drink, I need to pick myself up, or I need to smoke or something. And then after that, my actions will literally carry me from there. I didn't mind, um, being drunk and going behind the wheel and driving and getting to where I gotta go. I felt confident that I can handle myself in that regard. But as you can see, that shit is a dangerous way of thinking, which translates to a dangerous way of living. And I was like that for quite some time. And I told you from a build up of this behavior, if you guys listen to the other previous podcasts, But like I'll talk about on previous podcasts, you guys can literally go through almost any given one of them. I talk about this, but when you start to go through life through this kind of lens, you living in a false reality. And these are things when I first started doing this podcast, like even talking about this, I'm still beating around the bush with a lot of things. But in the beginning of this podcast journey, this was something that was extremely uncomfortable for me to talk about because it was a deep it was deeply ingrained in me and part of my core with the way that I was living, you know. And I would want to say that my confidence was definitely at an all-time low. Even on the exterior, I was presenting like, like I was good. Like I had everything figured out, you know what I mean? Like, confidence towards women, the whole nine. And at the end of the day, like I said, behind closed doors, I was realizing that, damn, like I'm deeply unhappy. I'm deeply depressed. But I wasn't really looking at what got me there. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at the present moment and looking around like, dang, I'm in a hole that I can't even get out of. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get out of. And thinking like that will easily lead me back to, like I said, picking up a drink or smoking and literally carrying myself from there and trying to maintain that as literally much as I can. And I noticed that my emotions and everything was literally out of whack. I couldn't really put two and two together, only if it was for my immediate benefit, But thinking outside of myself and the realm of others, that shit was not happening. It really wasn't happening, and a lot of people are extremely surprised when they meet me now and I say these type of things, but also people are extremely surprised that that I used to hang out with in the past and the person that I've come to be now. It's not something that I seen for myself and I ever expected. Jesus Christ, I just like spit out literally nastiness just now. But um, this is these things that I talk about is very, very important to me because we all face these battles in different shapes and sizes, whether it's through, like I said, our relationships that we have with our family, our spouses, our friends, our coworkers, and everything. If they're not healthy in itself, it can lead you to start doing unhealthy things that will make that lifestyle even more unhealthy, you know. And while I was going through this time period of really deeply being under the influence, being baked, fried, drunk the whole nine, um, it was a part of myself that was longing for a deep expression. And like playing basketball was a part of that. But due to the limited beliefs that I had within myself, I didn't really necessarily look at basketball as an outlet that was going to help me get out that situation. And I tried I tried my best to have basketball keep me on a straight line, but my priorities was totally different. The more and more I started uh, engaging in just trying to make myself feel good 24/7, you know, instead of trying to handle what my personal needs was and why am I even trying to do this in the first place, you know? And the one thing that I did realize going through the whole process, and these are themes that I straight talk about all the time on this podcast, that what broke me out of that was a lot of things that I didn't want to do, and I didn't freaking care about. I didn't care about learning. I didn't care about writing. I didn't care about reading. I didn't care about expressing myself in a healthy way through living a life on well-being. I didn't care about none of that. And if anybody was to present that to me, I would have thought horse shit of it. And like the stuff that I was absorbing at the time, it was a lot of law of attraction stuff, which is like good in a sense, but they don't really have substance. That's like, I like drinking sugar water. You feel me? If you don't understand the true essence of what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go, you can easily get lost. And that was for me. Like I tried LSD, lean, weed, dabs, of course, which is still kind of weed, drank alcohol, and a lot of these things was, like I said, in a way, suppressing myself because after a while, I started feeling hurt, like pain about life, literally existing. It was annoying. I just like literally dealing with life. I didn't want to deal with it. And that's what made me start doing things literally to literally get by every day, not minding going into work fried or drunk or literally both. Not really care about showing up on time for work and not necessarily caring about work in general. I never stayed at a place longer than a couple of months until I worked at Planet Fitness. To this day, that's the longest job that I held down, and that was from 2018 to 2020. Which on a previous podcast, you guys met Keem that I worked with, and every Saturday and Sunday, we would literally be at that job talking about our dreams and aspirations, what we were looking to do, and what we were looking to accomplish. And his dream of one day going to California and making something of himself. And me just at the time, basketball was 100% the vision. All I wanted to do was just maintain playing a professional career. Not even maintaining at the time. Just getting back to playing professionally. And it was very, very, during that time, real daunting because just to give you guys a rundown yet again after everything that I just said up until this point of the podcast. When I first started working at Planet Fitness, I had a bike. I had no money, had no car, and I got a bike from a friend. And it was January. My mom gave me the boot. Literally, yeah, New Year's Eve, January 1st, whatever. I don't remember which one, but I didn't know how I was going to take care of myself, and being a grown man and really thinking about that freaking sucked. And that was hard to wrap my mind around, realizing how much time I actually wasted, living like that and literally being trashed every single day and doing whatever that come with being trashed every single day. And I dealt with those consequences full on. And I said this yet again in the previous podcast episode. I can't remember which one. Broken record alert. Haven't said that in a minute. But I think it was on sacrifices, the podcast sacrifices. And I said that you either going to choose what you're going to sacrifice or the sacrifice will be made for you. And you rather choose what it is than have it be made for you. And that situation for me was one of those things where it was made for me. And the situation stripped me away from everything. And I had nobody to blame, literally, but myself. In that moment, I could have been like, the world sucks. Is this person's fault? Is that person's fault? But that was the first time in a long time I became really fully accountable for my actions and what I did to get in that predicament, in that situation. And I told myself that I would never get put in that situation again, and I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. And I really committed myself to it. And this was in 2018. I still had trouble with drinking and smoking around that time. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But it was something in me like that deeply had a longing for expression. And at that time, this was my mind state. I was literally thinking totally about basketball 100%. Like I told you guys, it was like that for me going all the way up until I, me and Sean got together, and he pretty much rapped to me, and it was a consultation on what I was planning on doing while I was playing basketball and after the fact of me playing basketball. And it's something that wasn't in the realm of my thinking. But going back before that point, before Purpose Served got cooked up, um, 2018, my thing was I wanted to be the first player in NBA history to not play in high school or college, like for the school itself. That's what my mind was processing, and tried out for the G League, Delaware Blue Coats. Ended up getting cut. Tried out for the ABA, the New Jersey Express. Ended up getting cut. A couple of success came from it. Went to a tournament in Puerto Rico. Ended up winning that. That was a pretty dope experience. Las Vegas. Won that. It was so many things that I started to experience once I really started focusing on basketball, that this is when I started seeing the world, seeing different places, meeting different people, failing, succeeding, experienced so much life in such a short amount of time, and I was doing it in a very, very desperate way because it felt like um, if I couldn't get this done, I would have a hard time looking at myself in the mirror and saying that Daryl, you're not going to be able to do this. That was like that was a driving force for me, and it turned into a lot of sleepless nights. Me staying up all night, couldn't shut my mind down. I'm working at Planet Fitness, doing overnight shifts as well. Like I would have shifts from 4 p.m. to 6 o'clock in the morning, just to come back at 4 p.m. that same day and do it all over again. And when I would leave at 6 a.m., I would take a bike and take a like a 6-7 mile bike ride to the gym to work out, or I would go to like another town over and do the same thing. And around this time is January, February, March, and I ended up getting a Beamer for like $800 when I bought it. It had literally all flats on it. The bumper was off the car, and it was a 323 1999 Beamer, 323 series, and it looked like that definitely looked like a drug dealer's car. If you look at it, you're just like, oh, whoever's in that whip, they dealing. But I got pulled over a decent amount in that joint. I experienced hella craziness in that car. As y'all can see now, it's also a theme of freaking car BS that goes on with me. But ultimately, this is a process that I started really going through, being disciplined, teaching myself different skills, learning, and putting myself in pressure situations that made me extremely uncomfortable. And all in all, I've really started changing around this time. And I really, around this time, unintentionally started removing myself from people that I often hung out with. And it's becoming more and more now. It's definitely now I I feel like I don't have enough time in a day to do everything that I want to do. If I want to put out more podcasts than I have been, I want to put out more videos than I have been. But please, y'all be patient with me. Everybody that's involved with this purpose served community, I have seriously some big things cooking in the works, and you guys have to be patient with me. And I say this all the time about how hard I work every day, and I be really wanting more time to be within a day to do everything that I want to do. That's why, I'm trying to build a team to help me accomplish way more and do way more and help me with the blind spots. That's a perfect fit and a unique fit to what's going on here at Purpose Served. Um, but yeah, a lot of the things that was a hindrance to me in the past, I learned to face them directly instead of going around them. And by going around them, like for example, if I knew I had to face something directly, like literally pay bills, pay my phone bill and stuff like that, I would go and spend money on getting weed or getting a bottle rather than putting money towards that thing. And this is something that's incredibly, I know it's difficult for people to do, but it has to be a platform for people where they need to hear what they need to do instead of hearing bullshit all day of what you like to hear about and other things. Like, these is uncomfortable things to talk about, and it draws a lot of people, it draw them away. But for me, in a sense, it's as if you are running away from yourself when you hear something that strikes you to your core, and you like, oh man, I know what I gotta do now. I know what I gotta do now. But it always boils down to if you are willing to do that thing or not. And living off of virtues and practicing moderation and living on discipline and practicing sacrifice is, like I said, it's not an easy thing to do. It's literally the hardest things to apply as a human being living this experience, especially if you come from a Western civilization and a Western culture, like being here in the States, like the United States. I can't speak on everybody else that's listening. Shout out to everybody that's listening outside of the country, especially shout out to everybody that's listening in Germany in particular. Love you guys, and special shout out to all you guys all the way in Germany. I see you guys. I see you. I know you guys listening, and I really, really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, and literally to everybody that's listening too. This means a lot. Doing this podcast means a lot. It allows me to go into a space that and have an open dialogue with myself to you guys, through myself, for you guys. I don't know what the hell I just said. I don't know if that even makes any sense. But I want to read y'all something. Give me a moment. This is from a book called How to Prosper in Hard Times. This is a book that I've read uh 6-7 years ago. These is one of the first books that I started reading, that and Think and Grow Rich, that started having me think differently because I was really desperate for change. And I'm pretty sure this is right after I got booked when I started reading books like this. For those that don't know what book means, literally means arrested. But yeah, let's see if I can read a freaking page of a book and not pull a Mayweather. But it says, promise yourself to be strong, that nothing can disturb your peace of mind, to talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet, to make all your friends feel that there is something worthwhile in them, to look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true, to think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best, to be just and enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own, to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future, to wear a cheerful expression at all times and give a smile at every living creature you meet, to give so much time to improving yourself that you have no time to criticize others, to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. To think well of yourself and to proclaim this fact to the world, not in loud words, but in great deeds. Powerful stuff. To live in the faith that the whole world is on your side so long as you are true to the best that is in you. Christian D. Larson, The Optimist Creed. Really, really, really go back and listen to that again if you have to. I want you guys to implement at least two or three things of what I just said tomorrow. Tomorrow, literally tomorrow, implement it. At least one of those things. Wear a cheerful expression to any living creature that you come across. Be too noble for anger. You know what I mean? Don't let anything just throw you out your element. If you sitting in traffic, don't be that dickhead to blow a gasket. Control yourself. Practice self-control. You know, this is important and to understanding what you truly are capable of. You know, it's a lot of things out there that, for example, that you can read that can spark the way that you think, or even listen to audiobooks and keep a lot of the things that you guys are doing, especially if you struggling with addictions. If it's real bad, go to something or somebody, or meetings or rehab for help. Like if it's truly that bad and you can't fix it yourself, man. It's a lot of things that's outside our control, and that we really do need help with from others. Or even if you simply need to talk about it to somebody, do that. Don't keep a lot of these things pinned up within yourself, and you start to act irrationally and do things that was never your intentions, due to the fact that you so balled up and you feeling like you're going to explode. Um, that's pretty much everything that I got on this truth. Wanted to get off my chest. Um, I love you guys, man. Like for real, and please. And I'm changing the PS community, so hold tight. I'm wiping that thing away, and I'm trying to make it more, interesting and interactive for you guys, to help you guys with whatever it is that you guys are struggling with in regards to, maintaining or trying to find or improving your purpose. Um, it first starts with an intention, and you need to hold your intention towards something to be able to get clarity on what you need to do to uphold that intention and make that intention a reality by committing, purpose to a form of service. You bring that thing to life instead of making it, non-active. And that's the goal, to have whatever you're aiming, your aspirations, to bring it to life. In order to bring it to life, you need to do. You need to be active. You need to act. You need to take action. Yeah. I don't know why I broke it down like that, but who cares? I don't care. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Check out the other content that I have on the YouTube channel. Download the podcast. Share the podcast. Like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please show your support, and I will continue to keep putting this stuff out there because I know you guys need it. I need it for myself, And thank you all for tuning in. I'm out. Serve your purpose. Deuce!